I could hug each and every single one of you, I swear I would.
Salutations, friends.
Salutations.
Salutations, friends. Salutations. My name is Brianna Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar.
I thought it was about time that I preach my piece. Spoiler alert, it's about time.
I'm not a betting girl. That sounds amazing.
I'm listening.
Are you ready?
Salutations, friends. My name is Brianna Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar. This is another, not so great video. We're working on that. We'll get into that more later, but today we actually want to talk about what the video is going to be, since this is going to be not the standard No Ordinary Scholar video. This is going to be more on the cutting room floor side of things. But let's go into the history of it. So, my alma mater, is that a thing you can say when it's your high school? Sure. My alma mater, Eldorado High School, it is having what we alumni and just that community have been just feeling like is an epidemic in terms of mental health issues and suicides. This is an issue that is broad around New Mexico. It is particularly intense around New Mexico compared to the rest of the United States. Eldorado has specifically been a really big problem with this. It feels like there has been a suicide every year since I've graduated. Even then, the last 2 years I was there were 2 other suicides, and that's not even mentioning because there are 2 different classes of this. The kids who attempted and did not succeed, and therefore that wasn't as big a thing around the school as an actual suicide was. B, the people that were actually planning and actively contemplating committing suicide, and C, the people who were just getting to a point in depression where they were just a lot more aware of being able to die and what things would kill them and what actions they could commit that would kill them. Not thinking necessarily I want to do those things, but just being very aware that they could, which I feel is almost like a step in the direction of getting to intense depression, suicidal tendencies. There's a cat here. He did this yesterday. He's doing this, but I can talk more about that another time. So yeah, there is a lot of stuff going around that community, and there are a number of issues. I was depressed and suicidal the entire time I was there. I got started depression when I was in elementary school, though. So I was depressed and suicidal the entire time I went to Eldorado, and I attempted suicide a couple times. Most people only know about one time. I did attempt several times throughout the course of those years. So I am particularly in tune with this issue. What happened recently was a teacher reached out to all of the alumni that she could, because again, that not only is the person that is actually feeling this pain and going through this and actually making this attempt at suicide, they're going through things, but the people they are leaving behind are also feeling some intense emotions. And so that school is very shaken emotionally and mentally from all of the losses that they are going through right now. And so the teacher is called out to ask alumni and the community to send in letters of encouragement, let these kids know that they are loved, they are not alone, that we hear them, stuff like that. I wrote 2 letters. I don't know where my stamps went, and I kind of just can't afford to buy new ones because stamps are expensive. So I am going to do this. So I'm doing this, and not instead, if I find my stamps, then we're sending a letter, but so that way I'm doing something. I am doing this. Salutations. I have been struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts for most of my life. And something I have to constantly try to remind myself is that the things that are done to me or happen to me are not all my fault. Other people's conscious choices are at work here too. By high school, I was able to implement this towards constant abuse from family, but to this day I have trouble making this distinction with friends, the people that choose to love me. I wanted to be understanding. I get that being friends with someone going through the things I was going through can be extremely complicated, but there's a fine line between understanding and letting someone get away with the inexcusable. There's no situation so complicated that you can't treat another person with basic human decency. And while I would fight to the end of time to ensure that that's the treatment others are getting, I need to learn to demand the same for myself. There are things that are not okay to do to other people, and it is not my fault that they happen to me, nor should that be my burden to bear. It is not your fault that he turned his back. It's not your fault that she didn't care. It is not your fault that he touched you. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. It is not your fault. With this, I was thinking specifically of a couple different situations. Firstly, there was when I was in high school, I was sexually assaulted, and it was by someone that I was close to. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, he would never do this. He would never want to hurt me. It's just, I'm just being over dramatic. And no matter how many times I told no or how scared I got, it would still be something that I put on myself, especially because there were times that he would do sweet things. Like, I remember one night I ended up telling him that I'm just having nightmares, I can't sleep, and for the rest of the week he stayed up with me until I fell asleep. And it's hard for me to be like, he's a monster, he would do something like that, but then like still be a terrible person and do these terrible things to me. And instead I would just tell myself, no, if this is just what you have to deal with in order to get someone to at least pretend to love you, you deserve this, you deserve to be treated this way. In return, you might get some kindness back, but this is what you deserve, and that's no. No one deserves anything like that. No one deserves to be touched or manhandled in any way that they are not comfortable with or without consent. None of that was on me. Another situation I'm thinking of was I had several friends that were just not great to me. I had one where anytime I did anything, it led to a 30-minute rant about how much of an idiot I am, how terrible I am, how I need to give up on everything. And then it was one of those, if I ever tried to say something back, if I ever tried to give a clap back, then they would start crying and they would say I'm so terrible, I'm so mean, how can I be so rude to them? And that was another situation where it is not on me, it is not my fault. I do not deserve to be treated this way. I have done nothing to deserve to get all of this hatred towards me. So that ended up being a friendship I left. I had another friend who I told her that, like, the bullying she and her boyfriend would do, I was friends with both of them. She was the only one at the time that knew that I was going through my mental health issues. And so I told her, like, the way her and her boyfriend bully me makes me more depressed than I was the first time I tried to kill myself back in, like, freshman year of high school. And literally the same night, because we had this argument because she invited her boyfriend over to our sleepover without knowing full well I would have said no. Because that same night, she and him, like, ganged up on me. I was saying, like, I don't feel good, I don't want to watch this scary movie with you guys, I'm not okay, I'm upset. And they just ganged up on me, telling everyone gets upset, you just need to learn how to get over it. And I almost, middle of the night, I think it was Halloween, around the same time, we still had those clown murders, but it was the middle of the night, ready to grab my stuff and walk home. So I I ended up not being friends with her for a while, but because she was the only person I had at the time that I could talk about any of this depression stuff with, I ended up going back to being friends with her. I shouldn't have done that, and I immediately regretted doing that. It was just a mess. It was a mess. It was a whole thing. And then her boyfriend, who's actually, I was closer with him, but he was also not great to me in many ways. He would constantly tell me, oh, I'll be there for you, no matter what, let me know. But really, we rarely ever talked. If I ever tried to talk to him, he always had something better to do. There would be times when I would say, I'm feeling really depressed, I need help. I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood for that. Maybe another time. And it does, like, saying you will be there for me and not actually doing any of the things to be there for me, and constantly throwing me to the side, waiting, only really using me when no one else was around, and when you had no one else to interact with, doesn't actually help me, surprisingly. But he was the only person I had. He was my friend. He was my family for 4 years. He was all I had for 4 years. So of course I kept excusing the things he was doing. I was saying, well, it's better than how your mom treats you. And so maybe this is the best you deserve. It's better than getting sexually assaulted, so maybe this is the best that you deserve. And still, it was not okay. It is not okay. There are things that he did and the ways that he treated me that are just not okay to do. And I know this, of all of the things, sounds the least damaging and sounds the least like overtly abusive, but it was still 4 years of essentially being told that I'm family and being treated like I'm his side chick, that he's trying to like keep out in the shadows, make sure no one really knows about me, make sure no one's really seeing me, make sure I'm only there, make sure he's only coming to me when he feels like it. And it sucked. It hurt. It hurt a lot. It was 4 years of a lot of pain. And the one person that I needed the most making me feel loneliest. Let's just say I had and still have some really intense abandonment issues, and that did not help at all. So, and the thing is, like, I've been out of high school for like 3-4 years now, and most of that time was spent blaming myself and putting these burdens on me, trying to figure out what's wrong with me that causes people to want to behave this way towards me, because I don't like being treated that way. I want to fix it. I want to fix myself so that way people don't hate me. And I'm only just now, I spent so much time just talking about these people and thinking about these people as if they were still, as if it is still. Like, I spent so much time feeling like I needed to I spent so much time not willing to look at these people in a bad light. And then even when I was able to conceive of that idea and to allow that to be an option, I refused to try and think of them And even when I allowed myself to think of that as even an option, I insisted that I had to forgive them right away. But the thing is, I never had a chance to be angry. I had never had a chance to be upset about this. I kept telling myself they've done nothing wrong, or maybe if maybe they've done something wrong. I kept telling myself they've done nothing wrong. And then I told myself they've done something wrong, but I understand what they're doing. I understand why they're doing it. Brianna, you're not a great person to be around. I get what they did and why. Now, I am just now getting to a point where I can say, no, that is not okay. I should never have been treated that way. I should never have had to deal with it, but you did that to me. You put me through that. And a weight has been just lifted off of my shoulders, because I'm not trying to take all of this blame, and I'm not trying to explain within myself why these people did the things that they did, when that is something that is within them. So if there's anything you walk away from this video with, I want you to know, we've all heard the phrase and the term, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, but don't carry the pain and the darkness of the world on your shoulders. Everything that goes bad, not everything that goes bad is on you. Other people, I don't care if you want to say they're just kids, they don't know what they're doing. That is their ignorance then that has led them to behave this way. It is not you, it is not your fault that it is not your fault that you are a victim. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you are new to this channel, or you're already part of my squadron and you want to listen more to me talk about depression, mental health, stuff like that, I should direct you over to the cutting room floor. That is where you are going to see me discuss the books that I've written, the poems that I've written. And if you haven't guessed right now, a lot of that has to do with depression and mental illness. If you want to read either of those things, linked down below, both of those books are going to be available to you on Amazon.com. If you are sick of this janky setup for my videos, then go ahead and hit me up over on Patreon. There you can support me for as little as $2 an hour. For as little as $2 a month. And with that money, first and foremost, I will fix my computer, because I have to record videos on my phone right now. It's the only device I have that can record anything. I'm happy about that, can't you tell? So the money would first and foremost go towards getting my computer fixed. Next, it would probably go towards hiring a an editor, hiring a professional editor for these books, because I have an entire book series, again, dealing with depression and mental illness that I plan on pushing out, and doing it alone is painful. There's a whole slew of things that I would want to do with any money that I'm able to receive, because every single penny you guys give me counts. If you want to check that out, check it out on the Patreon. But until next time, valediction.